I'd like to talk about how to support someone. So how to support one of your colleagues when they come back to work after they've experienced loss. But before we delve into that, I would like to say hello. My name's Ghazala. I'm at the Heart and Soul Cafe. If you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. And if you're here for the first time, you're very, very welcome. So how do we support someone when they come back to work after experiencing loss? So this could be from the perspective of a colleague, and it could also be from the perspective of a team leader or a group leader or a manager or a supervisor. So let's look at both a little bit. I think the best thing that we can do as, let's say, a manager or a group leader is that we work with the person. So give them some autonomy here and give them, I think it's very much about self-advocacy. I think that person needs to feel that they can share what they need, want and deserve, okay, to return back to work. And so I would say that if, for example, that person wants to phase back into work rather than, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 type of hours, it might be that they would feel better if it was 3 days a week to start off with, half a day each day. That might be a better way for them to sort of phase back into work. I had one person on one of my mental health courses that shared that when she returned to work after some time off, and this was because of her mental health really, that what her and a colleague did was her colleague met her outside work and walked into work with her that very first day that she was actually starting. And that for her made all the difference. And you might think, well, that sounds a bit trivial. It just meant that she didn't have to walk into work completely on her own, that she had someone to walk in with her. And that for her just meant a lot. And so it might be something that you might think, oh, that sounds a bit trivial, but it might be something that that person needs. And I think there's just those little reasonable adjustments that make a big difference to that person. So it might be phasing back into work. It might be that you meet them outside and sort of walk in with them as a colleague. That might be something that that person, feels that would be helpful. It might mean that that person has their breaks at certain times, because it could be that that person might want some time off for prayer, and you organize that for them and you accommodate that. It might mean that they'd like a particular room, or make sure that they have the room they need for prayer or for reflection, and maybe they might want to spend their breaks there. They might want to just spend some quiet moments there, and be mindful about that. It could be that they appear different. They could be quite different after they've had experienced a loss, in their personality, and I think we need to be mindful and give them space for that. And that might be more temporary. It might not be something that's a change in their personality for forever. But I think just give them space would be possible. It would be a good thing. And also it might be that outwardly they might look different as well, in their clothing, in the way they dress perhaps. So it could be lots of things. So we could be mindful about that and give them space and understanding that that is how they have evolved and changed as a result of their loss. So be mindful about that. As a colleague, I would say, you don't want to go to that person and say, oh yes, I'm so glad you're back, and it's so good to see you back here, and let's just as if you're sort of saying that you've had your time, you've had your loss, you've had your time off, and now you're back. It's all back to normal. It's not necessarily back to normal for them, okay? And it is about them. It's not about you, okay? It might feel like it's back to normal because you've got your colleague back, but this is about what they're experiencing, okay? So I think it's quite important to sort of be mindful about that they may be back, but they may not be fully back yet. Okay, so be mindful about that. And I don't think, you would want to go to that person and say, you're so strong and you're so resilient, and it's so good to see you back, because well, it's all about matter of being strong and moving on, and and you don't really want to be having that kind of conversation either, because that person may not be feeling that they're moving on, or that they're strong, or that they're resilient. Might not be feeling any of that. So it's not a good idea to just assume. Yeah. So we're not there to assume things or fix things or make it all right and make it all go away. We're not there to do that. I think the best thing to say to someone when they have returned to work after loss would be that I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so sorry for your loss. But if there's anything that I can do to help, then please let me know. Otherwise, I don't really know what to say, but I am a good listener. Many of my friends tell me that I'm a good listener. So if you feel that you want to share anything or offload, then I'm your person. Yeah, you know where to find me. So that would probably be the best. I think that person would thank you for that, if that's how you approached it. So you're not saying anything. You're not trying to say lots of things and trying to assume and fix things. You're just saying the door is open and I'm a good listener. And if you need me to sit with you during the break in the room that's been allocated, or a reflection room, if you want me to sort of sit with you while you have a little cry, that's okay. I can do that. We can just sit quietly, and that's okay. Yeah. So just to let that person know that they're not there, then, if you've put yourself forward to say, I'm a good listener, that means that person has to talk, because you don't really want to put any pressure on them either. You could say, well, if you want to talk, I'm here, I'm listening. If you want us to just sit quietly, then I can do that too. I can sit quietly too. And I think that person would appreciate you for that. I think, that's probably the best approach. But yeah, do remember that, we're not, we can't always fix things. We can't always make it go away. We can't. When it comes to loss and grief, that's not the way to try and handle things. The other thing, I think, from a management point of view, would be that to, if there's any EAPs embedded in your organization, so employment assistance programs, and if that has any counseling there or any bereavement counseling, to sort of share that with that person. Any charities that are locally available, or any helpline numbers, phone numbers, that you might sort of have, do share those if that person is feeling, overwhelmed with their grief, or their, whatever they're feeling, so that there's help there. So you've actually armed that person with some things, and it shows what else the other thing that it shows, gives a very clear message across. It says that that you care about that person, and that this organization cares about this person. It's not just about them coming back and that's it, they're back in their role. It's that it's back at your job and back in your role, but a little bit more on your terms. It's not just us demanding what you need to be doing. It's giving you that control and that autonomy there. And as I say, self-advocacy, I think, is probably quite important, because that allows person to put into place what they need, want and deserve to sort of thrive at work, because that's really what we're looking at. Eventually that person coming to a point where they can thrive and perform at their best that they possibly can, with what it is that they're carrying. Okay. And that's what's important. And that might mean that your colleague is never really going to be that person that they were before, and for you to accommodate that and accept that. Yeah, and that's important. Okay. I hope you found the content of this video helpful. Please do share if you feel that somebody is struggling, or someone is going to have someone come back to work after their loss and you think, oh, this will just be a little bit of a help. Just maybe some ideas that you might not have thought of, it's just really that, isn't it? It's just us throwing around ideas and sharing. So do share, like, subscribe. Thank you so much for those of you who have subscribed. I really do appreciate that, but we do need more. So please do subscribe and do comment. I really appreciate that. So thank you for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Until then, look after your hearts and souls. Thank you.